We all voted that she should stay. That's the text my mom sent me, 2 hours after she'd taken my 8-year-old daughter, Maddie, to the gate, and then boarded a first-class flight to Florida with my sister's family. I'm Lydia, 34, and I didn't find out my child was sitting alone in an airport until they were already halfway across the country, laughing, ordering margaritas on my card, acting like abandoning a little girl was a family decision. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't even cry in front of them. I opened my laptop. Because here's the part they forgot. I kept every receipt, every bank statement, every signed agreement, and 7 days after they left my daughter behind, their lives started falling apart. Have you ever been betrayed by your own blood? Tell me in the comments. Would you forgive this? It was supposed to be a big morning. Maddie had been talking about this trip for weeks. Florida, sunshine, theme parks. She was 8 and vibrating with excitement, the kind that makes kids run on orange juice and pure adrenaline. She kept patting her backpack like it might vanish if she looked away. Headphones, coloring book, and that little stuffed rabbit she refused to leave behind. My parents and my sister Tracy's family were taking her. I couldn't get time off work, and I hated that I couldn't go. But I told myself the same lie I'd told myself my entire life. She'll be surrounded by family. What could possibly go wrong? At 7 a.m., my mom texted me a photo from the gate. Maddie was grinning, one missing tooth, both thumbs up like she just won something. Boarding soon, my mom wrote. I stared at that picture through the morning meeting, smiling at my phone like an idiot. I even told a coworker she's off on her first adventure, and tried to ignore that small pinch in my chest, the envy that I couldn't be the one walking her down that jet bridge. And then, 2 hours later, my phone buzzed again. We all voted that she should stay. I frowned at it, half listening while someone talked about projections and deadlines. Stay where? It didn't even register as possible. In my family, weird messages were normal, cryptic, passive-aggressive, like they were always speaking in code I was expected to translate. So I set my phone face down and kept working. I wish I could go back and call right then. I wish I could be the version of myself who didn't second guess, who didn't shrink her instincts into silence just to keep the peace. But peace was the currency in my house growing up, and I was the one who always paid. Tracy didn't. Tracy got to be sensitive. That was the word my mom used, like it was medical, like she couldn't help it. When we were kids, Tracy drew on the walls with crayons and cried when she got caught. My mom would scoop her up like she'd been wounded, and I'd be the one grounded. Dad never argued. He just went quiet, which in our family counted as agreement. By the time I was 10, I could make dinner, fold laundry, and read my mother's mood from 3 rooms away. Tracy was 7 and still couldn't pour her own cereal, but somehow she already knew how to get whatever she wanted. She'd cry, Mom would melt, and I'd end up apologizing for something I didn't do. I learned the rule early. Love was a limited resource, and Tracy had the premium subscription. When I graduated college, after scholarships, double shifts, and years of being invisible just to survive, my mom didn't hug me. She looked at me like I'd committed a crime and said, "You think you're better than everyone now?" I didn't answer. I was too tired to fight for a seat at a table that never saved one for me. And standing there in that office, staring at that text, we all voted that she should stay. I didn't realize it yet. But my family was about to do what they'd always done. Prove one more time exactly how replaceable I was. After college, my life looked normal on paper. A steady job, a mortgage, and a husband, Jason, who didn't flinch at my ambition. We weren't rich, but we were stable. The kind you build alone and our bills got paid. Tracy's life was a revolving emergency. 2 kids, constant debt, and a gift for turning every crisis into a group project with me as the unpaid manager. Her calls always began the same way. "I hate to ask," she'd say. And almost always my mom followed within minutes like she'd been waiting. "You make more, sweetheart," Mom would say. "It's nothing for you." Nothing for me. Everything for them. At first it was small. A late utility bill, birthday gifts, short-term loans that never came back. Then it became tradition. Family dinners where the check slid toward me like it had my name printed on it. Deposits I covered just to hold the reservation, and Tracy forgot to pay back. "I left my wallet," she'd chirp, and Mom would laugh. If I hesitated, Tracy's voice sharpened. So you're really going to let your sister drown over a few dollars? Mom would back her up. Family helps family. Then came the house. Jason and I bought a fixer-upper as an investment. We hadn't even finished painting the kitchen when Tracy showed up at our door, mascara streaked, phone in her hand. "My landlord's evicting me," she cried. "I have nowhere to go. Just a few months." Mom stood behind her, already glaring at me as if my no had been spoken. "It's family," she said. Not a request, a verdict. So we let Tracy move in. A few months stretched into seasons. She paid a quarter of what we agreed on, complained about the rest, and posted online about greedy people who didn't understand family. Every time I brought up rent, she had a new tragedy ready. Dental bill, stolen laptop, a lost job that never quite existed. When I tried to stand firm, Mom's tone turned icy. "You're putting money above family." I stared at the toys on floors I'd paid for and swallowed what I wanted to say. By the time the Florida trip came up, I was trained, conditioned, the reliable one, the fixer, the wallet. Tracy called it an olive branch. "The kids would love it," she said. "And Maddie? She'll lose her mind." Flights were insane. The hotel was crazy expensive, and the meaning was clear. Pay, and we'll go. I couldn't take time off. I was buried in deadlines. So when Tracy offered to take Maddie with them, I grabbed the idea like a life raft. A week for her to feel loved, and a week for me to breathe. I bought the tickets. I booked the hotel. I even ordered matching t-shirts because Tracy insisted family photos mattered. And when Mom sent that picture from the gate, Maddie grinning with her rabbit tucked under her arm, I let myself believe, for one last time, that my giving would finally be enough. The rest of that morning at work blurred into noise. Emails, calls, someone talking about deadlines while my mind kept drifting back to Maddie's grin in that gate photo. My phone stayed quiet, and I forced myself to stop hovering. Of course they weren't texting. They were in the air. When I finally left, the parking lot smelled like heat and asphalt. I unlocked my car and checked my phone again. That same unread text stared back at me. We all voted that she should stay. Now it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like a lock clicking. I called to hear Maddie's voice. Just a normal goodnight. They answered on the second ring. I heard laughter, luggage wheels, someone saying, "rental car." "Hey," I said, "you made it. Put Maddie on." A pause. Then my mom, light as if we were discussing weather. "Didn't you get our message?" "What message?" "The one that said we all voted she should stay." I laughed because my brain refused the obvious. What does that even mean? My dad's voice came in, calm and factual. "She was acting up. We decided it was better she stay home." My stomach dropped. "You left her?" Tracy cut in, crisp. "Relax. We called an emergency childcare agency. She's fine." "Fine," my mom echoed. 5 stars on Google. "Where is she?" "We'll text you the name. We're catching the shuttle. Talk later." Click. I stood there with my phone pressed to my ear, listening to nothing. The silence rang. I called back. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. One thought cut through everything. My child is alone. A text arrived from my mom's phone. No apology, no explanation, just a link and an agency name. When someone answered, the woman sounded bored. Childcare dispatch. "My daughter," I said. "She was picked up from the airport. I need to know where she is." Typing. "The child's been collected. She's safe. The caregiver took her home to wait for pickup." "What's the address?" "Sending it now." A street name popped up on my screen across the city. No reassurance, just logistics. I drove fast. Street lights smeared across the windshield. Every blink became the same picture. Maddie sitting somewhere strange, clutching that rabbit, trying not to cry because she didn't want to be bad. The neighborhood looked tired. One streetlight flickered. A woman opened the door before I could knock. "You're the mother?" she asked. "Yes," she snorted. "She's been here all day." She turned and called into the house, sharp. "Kid, your ride's here." Inside smelled like disinfectant and microwave dinners. Maddie sat on a couch, backpack beside her, rabbit in her lap. Her eyes were huge and glassy. When she saw me, she ran. I caught her mid-stride. "I was good, Mommy," she whispered. I waited. You did everything right, I said, holding her tight. The sitter hovered in the doorway. Nobody gave me your number, she said. She kept calling the one they left. It said the person couldn't take calls. That was my mother. Maddie pulled back just enough to look at me. Why didn't Grandma want me? Something inside me split open, clean and permanent. We left. Maddie clung to my hand. At home, she fell asleep on the couch before I could untie her shoes. I covered her with a blanket and sat beside her while my phone glowed on the table. That text was still there. We all voted that she should stay. They thought abandoning my child was a vote. They thought I'd swallow it like everything else. They didn't know this time I was done being quiet. The morning after I brought Maddie home, I didn't wait for my anger to cool into something convenient. Jason was out of town on a work trip, and for once I didn't ask anyone what to do. The house was quiet. Coffee burned on the warmer. Maddie's stuffed rabbit sat on the counter like a tiny witness. I opened my laptop and started pulling up everything I'd spent years pretending didn't matter. Bank statements, Venmo history, lease emails, screenshots of Tracy promising, "I'll catch up soon." Then a new notification hit. Another charge from the Florida resort, room service, under my name. They were sipping vacation on my card, after leaving my child behind. I laughed, one short sound that didn't belong to a sane person. "Okay," I whispered. "You want votes? Let's do numbers." By noon, I had it laid out in a neat row of files. 36 months of rent discounts and missed payments, $54,000. The Florida trip I bought and didn't take, $3,500. The emergency childcare bill I never approved, won $200. Total, $58,700, not money, evidence. Every line had a timestamp and my name. I called a lawyer friend Jason had used once. His voice was calm, pressed flat like a freshly ironed shirt. I told him I didn't need comfort. I needed a demand letter. "Keep it factual," he said. "Dates, amounts, no emotions." I'm very good at professional. I wrote the email like a report from a crime scene. Outstanding balances. Attached, lease agreement with Tracy's signature. Attached, statements. Attached, the screenshot of my mother's text. We all voted that she should stay. My hand shook over the mouse, not from doubt, from adrenaline. Click, send. My phone lit up 10 minutes later. Group video call, Mom, Dad, Tracy, Florida sunlight behind them, palm trees, cocktails, the kind of background that makes cruelty look casual. Mom started before the screen even cleared. "What is this supposed to be?" Tracy snorted, squinting at my total. "A bill? $58,700? You're hilarious." Dad leaned back. "She's bluffing." I didn't blink. "It's math." Mom's smile wobbled. "You know we don't have that kind of money. You make 5 times what we do." "And Maddie is 8, I said. "You left her at an airport?" Tracy's eyes flashed. "She was acting up." "She was a child," I said. "And you voted to abandon her." Mom's voice sharpened. "You don't treat family like strangers." "Exactly," I said. "Strangers wouldn't have done this." They started talking over each other. Excuses, outrage, guilt served like a buffet. I waited until the noise ran out. 10 business days, I said. After that, my lawyer files. Then I ended the call. The next morning, my doorbell rang like entitlement in Morse code. Mom stood on my porch with Dad behind her. Tracy clutched her phone like she wanted proof I was the villain. Mom tried her soft smile. "Sweetheart, this is a misunderstanding." "No," I said. "This is a pattern." Tracy rolled her eyes. "Don't ruin the family over one mistake." "You ruined it at the airport," I said. "I'm just done paying for it." Mom's lip trembled. "You'll regret turning your back on us." I opened the door wider so she could see Maddie's drawings taped to the hallway wall. Rabbits, planes, bright blue skies. "I'm not turning my back on family," I said. "I'm protecting mine." I shut the door. The latch clicked. Final. A week later, the settlement email arrived. Accepted. First payment scheduled. The rest in installments, notarized and signed. I stared at the subject line until my breathing slowed. They left my daughter behind. I left them behind first. 3 months have passed, and the payments arrive like clockwork. Automatic transfers. Quiet. Undeniable. It's strange how numbers can feel more honest than any apology I'll never get. The rental house finally makes real money now. New tenants, real contracts, rent paid in full. Jason jokes it's the first time that place has ever earned its keep. I joke back that I stopped being the family bank and became a landlord instead. What I don't joke about is Maddie. Some nights she still wakes up and crawls into my bed without a word, her rabbit tucked under her chin like armor. I don't ask questions when she does. I just pull her close and let her breathe until her body remembers it's safe. And I've stopped waiting for my mother to become someone she isn't. No more long explanations. No more hoping a perfect sentence will make them understand. I didn't win because they finally saw the truth. I won because I stopped handing them access to my life. One evening, Maddie taped a new drawing to the fridge, a rabbit wearing sunglasses, holding a tiny suitcase. "Where's he going?" I asked. "Anywhere he wants," she said, like it was the simplest thing in the world. And I realized that's the whole point. If you've ever been treated like your family's ATM, like your love is only valuable when it comes with a transfer, tell me in the comments. I read every story. And if this hits something tender in you, please subscribe. This is a place where you don't have to heal alone, because you are not responsible for fixing people who broke you. You deserve peace, and you're allowed to choose it.